Hello everybody, this is one list of my bucket list. This is the guy who introduced me to behavioral economics way back in 2010 when I read your book, Predictably Irrational. I was hooked on it. So please welcome Dan Ariely.
Hi. So first of all, hi to everybody in the Philippines, and everything you told me about the Philippines is that everybody is perfectly rational in that country.
No.
People,
You know what?
people
We're very-
save,
Okay.
people don't eat too much. Traffic, like there's no traffic. People are perfectly rational. So, when you think about irrationality is really part of human nature. We sometimes think of ourselves as perfectly rational, but we're not. And irrationality, by the way, is not all bad, right? Irrationality is also what gets us to care about other people. It gets us to fall in love. It gets us to help other people. It gets us to be generous.
To be big dreamers as well.
Yeah, we take risks, right?
Yes.
Think about, I don't know how it is in the Philippines, but in the US, if you think about the odds of somebody opening a restaurant and being successful, it's very low.
The same.
The same.
Yes.
So you say if people were perfectly rational, they wouldn't take any risks and there'll be no new restaurants.
Yes.
But how much would you want to live in a place where people don't take risks, right? So it's irrational for the individual to take this amount of risk, but it's really good for society. So there's some irrationalities that are good for either the individuals or for society, but there are many irrationalities that are not. And today we spend a day thinking about financial decision making. And in financial decision making, we make a ton of mistakes. It's very hard to think about the long term, very hard to save. Saving is one of the hardest things to do for people because it's giving up something concrete now for something abstract later. I really want a new iPhone. I really want to have more money later, but what will I get later? So the concrete thing, I know exactly what I'm giving up. I'm not sure what I'm getting in 30 years when I retire. And then, of course, it also has the time element, now versus later. And we make mistakes in now versus later all the time. We do things that are tempting us at the moment and giving up things in our future. So long-term saving is very, very tough. And because of that, we're not so... I don't think that the right mechanism is to teach people about financial savings. It's to basically make the right behavior the easy behavior.
Yeah, so what you're saying now is that financial literacy is really not enough.
Sadly, it's not enough. I wish it was,
Yes.
right? Empirically, it's just not. Instead, what we want to do things like automatic deductions.
That's right.
Right? So if you have, your money comes from your salary and you spend, and at the end of the month you say to yourself, how much should I put in savings? Most likely you'll never put anything in savings.
Yeah.
But if in the moment between your employer and your checking account, money goes away
Yes.
into savings, you will basically learn how to make do with a smaller amount, and you will save something. So we need all kinds of automated solutions. And the good news is that the electronic nature of money is making it easier for us to implement solutions like that. It's also
Easier for us to spend.
It's also easier for us to spend, right? It's a double-edged sword. So if you think about the future electronic wallet, imagine two paths. One, it's electronic wallet that makes you think less about money. It's less salient. You just walk there with your Android or iPhone and you take things and you're being charged and you don't think about this.
Yeah.
That's a world in which we don't have to deal with money, but we spend more and save less.
No pain of paying.
That's right. Or you can say, let's create a world differently so that we actually think more about money. The electronic wallet in your phone doesn't have to make you think less about money. It is in the current form, but it could actually help you think more about the opportunity cost, more about what you're spending. So, in summary, I think that we're kind of in a very interesting junction as we kind of have the opportunity to redesign money in the electronic age. And it's kind of up to us to say, what kind of money do we want? Do we want to design the kind of money that is compatible with how people think and get people to live in a better way for our future? Or do we want to create money that is more tempting to spend now, making less likely to save, and actually get us down a very deteriorated slope? I hope we'll think better about money, and I hope we'll design mechanisms and institutions to get us to behave better.
Just a little bit of curiosity. How does it work in the house of a behavioral economist like you? Like, do you apply any principles on your child rearing, on the way you treat your spouse?
So lots of things, apply in a personal way. So, for example, from the kids' perspective, our kids have basically 3 piggy banks.
Okay.
And one is for them, one is for somebody they know, and one is for somebody they don't know.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and the goal is to get them to think about not just about themselves,
Yes.
but their role in society.
Yeah.
Right. So, for themselves, it's easy. Somebody they know. There's a very beautiful literature on how giving, not just money, but giving gifts makes everybody happier.
Okay.
The person
Yes,
giving
yes.
becomes happier. The person getting. So, how do you create a mental budget or a budget for that? That's one thing. And then thinking about giving to people they don't know. That's about their role.
Who gives the percentages? Who assigns
Oh,
the
it's
percentages?
equal percentages.
Oh, 1/3.
1 to 1. So, and we don't let them choose. It's dictated by us.
Okay.
As a mechanism. So there's lots of things that basically say how do we want to live our life. Another thing that we do is we don't spend much money generally, but we do try to take very memorable vacations.
Okay.
If you think about vacations have kind of the time before vacation,
Yes.
the time during vacation, the time after vacation.
Yes.
And it's a very interesting experience because
So you maximize the
That's right.
happiness.
That's right. So we can. So last year in the winter we went to Iceland,
Okay.
and my kids say in the winter you're
You
taking
know,
us to this
ice?
cold and dark. I said,
But-
let's try it out. And there were very few hours of light.
Okay.
It gets light at about 11 a.m. Gets dark at 3, but amazingly long sunrises, amazingly long
Oh, is that
sunsets.
right? We haven't been to Iceland. We should try that.
And it was an amazing vacation. Now it was cold, the moments of vacation had some challenges, but we go back to it in our minds and reflect on it in a very, very good way. So there's lots of lessons to think about carefully about life and think about all the times in which you...
How about with your wife? I'll
That
give you
one-
one tip. We have a default date, which is Friday. We call it a Friday date. So it's already understood that is the day for us.
That's a very good mechanism. I travel a bit too much with that, and I also know my wife a bit too well to on camera reveal. Thank you very much. It was great to have you here.
Yeah. So when do we have you in the Philippines?
Well, I'm not willing to commit on camera.
Thank you very much,
Thank you very
guys.
My
much.
pleasure.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Sneaky.
Sneaky.
Just trying.